everybody, to Panfish Nation along with Mark. I'm Lyle, and Mark.
Lyle.
It's a beautiful day today.
It's cold out here. It's only 56 degrees right now.
We're still at 70, so it was in the low 80s today, which is too bad for this time of year. We got some cold coming in, and it's going to warm back up, and then cold again. So it's fall.
Yeah, it's already October. Look, what is it? October 9th? Holy smokes!
Yeah, man, it's going to town. The
baseball
playoff is on. Yeah, next month to be it. We got to vote to get our president in, and then we're going to have the bird, and before Halloween, we already got Christmas decorations up all over the place.
I actually went on a local voting site here, and early voting starts a week from Monday. I'll be there bright and early, get my vote in, get it all done and taken care of, and then just watch the insanity to ensue.
What is wrong with him?
How you doing, Josh?
Man, I'm good to that boy too.
I keep asking why. Okay, Monday when I was watching Catfish Weekly, right? I saw Chad pop up. I thought you fired him. What happened with all that? I'm like, wait a minute. I thought he wasn't doing this anymore. I haven't talked to him in like who knows how long. Haven't talked to any of them guys. Just you, my friend.
He's really been busy and getting his new house and everything lined out and busy at work on top of it. So, he's just doing what you got to do to do it. But I catch a bass every now and then. I've been having this problem, Mark. Every time I go after bait, I'm going after bluegill quite a bit. And
wait. Let me stop you right there. Bass are bait.
Not in Missouri, but I love to use them because I catch them all the time. And I was catching them on the topwater fly baits, using the fly rod, and they're a lot of fun on fly rod. They really are. But them guys ride me pretty hard about it. So today I was using real small spinner baits trying to catch some bluegill in shallow water. And damn if I didn't catch a largemouth bass. It's crazy.
The one spot where when we did the Panfish tournament here last year, Chad was hosting it, and I messed up the time, so it was my fault. He was talking Kamala time. I was on real time. So I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, shoot, this started already. I got to get out of here. So I was half hour late and caught a bunch of fish, did pretty good. I think I got like 47 or something like that. But that spot right there is great for catching bluegill and stuff, but the bass getting away all the time. That's what I call it. I'm getting in the way. So
Dave said he caught him a couple of ditch pickles today too.
I saw Double Hook Angling caught himself a sauger today. Good on him.
Good, yeah, no kidding. That's some good eating there.
Brian B. Catfishing. We'll say hello to everybody here in a few minutes.
Is Brian in here?
Brian is in here.
Chad told me that he not only quit fishing, he was going to quit coming in all the shows, but I'm glad to see Chad didn't know what he's talking about. Welcome, Brian.
Yeah, why would Brian do that?
I don't know. I think Chad just figures since he don't use his boat no more, then he probably forgot how to fish. But I'm not sure that's right. You know how Chad is.
Yeah, he also says he's the greatest fisherman in the whole world too.
He does say that.
When he knows it's me. I got a story for you, Lyle.
Let's hear it.
Yesterday, it was time to do my yearly maintenance on my boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get up in the morning, I'm like, oh, shouldn't be a problem. I'll videotape it. We'll get her done, knocked out. 2 hours tops, I'm thinking, right? So I get out there and I get my big camera out there. I'm thinking I'm going to make it look good, which, so far the footage, it looks really good. But man, I'm kind of rethinking how I film stuff and that. So it took a lot longer than I imagined. I get through the oil change, right? And then I get to the I do the fuel filter and the separator as well. But on this new motor, I haven't done it before. It was kind of tight to get in there. That took a little longer. Cut myself up pretty bad digging around in that underneath the cowling. Got that switched out. And then I go to do the gear oil, the gear lube, switch it out. I open up take off the prop on this boat, and there's the vents at the top and the drains at the bottom. And it was coming out so slow. So I'm waiting. Hour and 15 minutes later, it's still coming out. I'm like, well, I'm going to go get the bottles of gear oil I got in the garage out, ready to go, right? I look at it, and the gear oil is brown, and what's coming out of the lower unit is like blue, greenish blue.
Okay.
I'm like, oh. I look in the manual. I got the wrong stuff. I got gear lube for up to 70 horsepower, and I need the high performance stuff, right? I got a 5-year warranty. I ain't going to mess around. That's why they're all different colors, so they know what you're using. So I don't have gear oil. I got it draining, got the boat out on the driveway, all done. No one's home, got the boat hooked up. Wife will be home in a half hour. I'm feverishly searching on the internet to find it. Farm and Fleet locally didn't have it here. I had to drive 15 miles to go get 1 quart of gear oil in rush hour traffic. Took me an hour and 10 minutes to get there. But then once I got it, it only took me like 20 minutes to get home. So it wasn't too bad coming home, but going there was horrible. So I ended up finishing up. It was dark out because it's getting dark earlier and earlier these days.
Yes, it is. And I don't like that.
So that was my uphill battle yesterday.
You know, I like the idea that they make all the lubricants in that motor a different color. If they would all do that, it would save a lot of people from making a lot of mistakes, putting the wrong stuff in the wrong spot.
I agree.
That's a really good safety idea for them doing that. I would like to see all them boat motor companies do that. That's just a great idea. Dave said he caught a 18.5-inch saugeye.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that on Facebook. It's a pretty nice looking fish.
That is a great looking fish.
I just don't know if he kept that or not.
I don't know. I don't know his regulations over there either, but I think he can use bass for bait like you. I'm pretty pissy that I can't, but you know, it is what it is. I would love to use bass for bait. Since I can't, I guess I'll just start eating them.
I know his son Gregory caught a green sunfish, and David did not stutter putting that fish on a hook and throwing it back out there. That's for sure.
Boy.
That's the way to do it.
That is. Heck yeah, man. You got the stuff. Them green sunfish make great bait.
One of my favorites. What do you
Flatheads,
say? Hello to
soda blues.
What do you say? I say hello to everybody, Lyle.
Let's do it, man.
I see Brian B. Catfishing in the house. What's going on, Brian? Once again, hello. Double Hook Angling, David. Jason Lamb, how you doing, my friend? Jason's a good dude, hell of a blue cat fisherman. Kevin Kaplan in the house. Our buddy Mike Irvin, Mike Sampson. There's Pontoon Jody Catfishing. Schmieder of the Cedars in the house, and Josh over at the Weekend Angler. I hear Jody's going to be your first contestant on.
That is correct.
On Catfish Weekly. What's the name of that tournament again?
Oh, damn. I knew you'd ask.
I knew I'd put you on the spot with that one.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that.
Before I asked, I'm like, will he know?
Hang on. I can tell you.
Josh will tell us. He's in chat.
Yeah, he probably is.
Hey, there's channel supporter Crappie Stix.
It's a Top Cat Challenge.
Top Cat, that's it. Yep, Josh just mentioned it right there. That'll be interesting to see how that pans out over 12 months.
Absolutely. And people can go ahead and get signed up for that for November.
And how do they do that, Josh? What's the email address?
No, you can just go over and sign up on the Catfish Weekly group page.
There's
Curtis.
There's Quiet Man Curtis. What's going on, Curtis? How you doing, Chrissy? Hopefully Ernie's feeling better today. Keep Ernie in your prayers. He's having some health issues, everybody. Want to make sure we take care of it. And definitely Lyle. You see what's going on down there in Florida?
Yeah, it's bad news down there, and it's going right through where I have two older uncles of mine that are in their late 80s, early 90s, and my aunt Sandy's down there, of course, and then my cousin Ronnie, which is the same age, born on my birthday. He's not quite my age, but you know he's getting there, and his wife lived down there, and uh, I messaged Uncle David last night. I think Uncle David's 92. And I told him, I said, you guys be careful down there. I was hoping he'd tell me that he took off and went out of there, but doesn't sound like it. I think he's
No.
going to try to ride it out, but it's going to go right across. I can't remember the name of the little old town they lived in. It's a retirement community, of course, and it's pretty much going to go right over them. So hopefully everything will be all right.
I was watching Ryan Hall y'all today, and there was like tornado after tornado down there already.
Yeah, they're ahead of the hurricane. So
is that normal for tornadoes before hurricanes?
I think on the big ones it is. I'm not 100%. I'm no Ryan Hall, but you know, I know a lot of the big hurricanes have multiple tornadoes ahead of them.
Trying to talk Sheila into moving to Florida. I told her, yeah, no tornadoes down there, sweetie. And today, you know what she said? No tornadoes in Florida, huh?
Yeah, I don't even want to visit that place. I really don't. I have no desire to go to Florida whatsoever. Too many people, and most of them are rude bastards, and I don't want nothing to do with them. And it's too hot. I was in West Texas for a while, and I worked down there, and I was miserable the whole time down there. But if I walk across the room, I'd break out a sweat. So, it just didn't suit me very well. But yeah, is that where Chandler is? It could be, but not in Florida.
Maybe that's where he moved. Maybe he didn't buy a house. Maybe he just moved into a community like that.
That could be. That could be. I just have no desire for that now. The northern part of Florida wouldn't be too bad. They got some pretty good flathead fishing down there on some of the rivers that's down there. I know a couple of guys that fish those quite a bit, and they do really well.
North Carolina looks better and better. 252 local was live the other night, and he was fishing the Tar River, I think, in North Carolina, and he had a 55-pounder in the boat, Lyle.
Wow, great fish.
And he was saying he was getting like 5 or 6 fish a night over there on cut bait.
Wow. Hagen Grubb had a new video come out today. If you guys get a chance to watch that, jump on over to Hagen's channel and check it out. He caught he said they weighted at 49 pounds, but that's the longest 49-pound blue cat I ever seen in my life. It's really, really long. And he caught some giant shad. Just unbelievable size. So if you get a chance, check out Hagen's new video. Be sure to do it. You'll enjoy it.
I was also watching, and Jonathan from Hooked Catfish finally put out another video. He said in the beginning of the video he took a month off, so that's understandable. But he was back on him in this one, and he was fishing with huge live shad too.
Yeah, Hagen, I think, was cutting his, but he was bumping and anchoring and bumping and anchoring. He done a little bit of everything, but they caught some smaller fish. But that one, like I say, if it only weighed 49 pounds, it's the longest 49-pound fish I've ever seen. And that's what I say about these guys in these tournaments when they're going by length instead of weight. That's a very deceiving way of doing it, because you'll get a lot of them will be 49 pounds and 10 inches shorter than that and have a big old belly on it. This one was, I guess, it's unbelievable how long that fish was, and to be 49 pounds.
It was a good one. Like my PB flathead was the same way. It was really big around. It was a big female, so her head wasn't all that big. But I remember the body being like that big around. Crazy. That's where all the weight was in that bed.
This fish that he caught today had a big head on it. He just, man, he was long. There's Chris with Hooks and Hammocks. Thanks
What's
for
going on,
joining us
Chris? How you
tonight, bud.
doing?
Glad to see you in here. But we'll talk a little bit about equipment and gear tonight, Mark.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a good topic because it was something that I'm like in the process of doing everything. It's like, you know, Josh, you know, speak of that little devil right there making fun of you in chat. Always. I'm thinking about pulling a trigger on one of those ultrasonic cleaners to go through all my reels this year. I've been seeing a lot of them in on TikTok for sale, but the ones that they're selling on there, I looked up the reviews; they get bad reviews, so I might just go ahead and get that Harbor Freight one, and we'll find a spot for it on my workbench in the garage. But I been doing everything from taking care of the boat to organizing reels. I gave a buddy of mine that was a little bit down on his luck, gave him some reels, so I had to clean all of them up. So I thought, you know, every year, whether it's the beginning of the new next season or the end of the previous season, I always go through all my stuff. I get rid of everything that I'm never going to use, either give it away or donate it or just get rid of it in the trash. So that's what I've kind of been in the process of doing.
Greg Burgess has joined us. Thanks for coming in tonight, Greg. You know, the first time I ever used an ultrasonic cleaner, Mark, was back in about 1978 or 9 when GM was coming out with them 5.7 converted diesels that they used the old motor and made diesel. They
Is that
was
like
a,
the worst diesel engine they ever put in a truck?
yeah, it was horrible. It was worse than cars because there's so many more of them. But you know, we had to take them injectors apart and clean them back in those days when they was under warranty. And so ultrasonic, that's the first time I'd ever used an ultrasonic cleaner. And they worked really good. Joe Buck, member for 22 months. Thank you so much, my friend. But yeah, we used them then, but there were, and at that time I had no idea there would be so many more uses for them as time goes on. But they're a great way to clean up real parts and different things. And you can get some pretty harsh stuff to clean them with as far as chemicals, or you can just use pretty much soap and water, and that works pretty much just as well.
Well, I think Sheila's getting mad at me cleaning that stuff in the kitchen sink, anyways.
Really? I'm
Yeah,
finding it hard to believe.
and I've been coming to think about it, I've been getting in a lot of trouble lately. I don't know why. Can't be me.
You're probably not spending enough money.
Stop it. More than enough.
Yeah.
She could probably hear you from here too.
I'd never do that on purpose.
No, you wouldn't. Just
Black
so you guys in
Panther,
chat
welcome.
know, him and Doctor are always asking for Sheila's phone number. To this day, I ain't giving it to him.
I think you should, but then again, you know,
Mm-hmm.
one phone call, she'd probably block us anyhow.
She probably would. She's got morals, unlike us. Greg Burgess, how you doing, bud?
Crappie Day there, and welcome, member for 21 months. Thank you so much. Joe Buck says, nah, better than anything on TV. We really appreciate that, man. That's awesome.
It's not saying too much, but we appreciate the sentiment.
I do have the ball games on. I will be watching them. I am a student of the sport, so it doesn't matter who's playing. I'll be watching them. But yeah, you know, back to our topic. Um, your boat is probably your biggest piece of gear and requires the most maintenance. That and a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a boat, of any of the equipment that we deal with, and maintenance on the trailer will assure you that you get back and forth where you're going, and maintenance on the boat will make sure you get back to the ramp so you can load it to go home. So that's and you know, I know that you're videoing doing your maintenance on your boat, and I think that's a good idea for other people can watch and decide for themselves if they can do it themselves. Um, but I try to used to pack the wheel bearings in my trailer twice a year because I traveled so much in tournaments and stuff. And I do it once in early in the spring, and I do it once in the fall because tournaments go on year round. And that took care of me. I never had breakdown out on the road, but I don't do them big long trips much anymore. So I just do mine once a year. I do it every spring, and then that seems to be okay for what I got. But on the boat, there's a lot of stuff you need to do, and I'm assuming that you're doing on a maintenance schedule. But people that are not, if they do it like I do, when they if they're changing oil, which mine's a two stroke, so I don't need to do that. There's a lot of other stuff to change on, like your lower gear oil and fuel filters and all that stuff.
Spark
And
plugs every third 100-mile service.
yeah,
A
that's
new
right.
belt, you got to get a special tool to put the belt on there for the
Hmm.
alternator. You're supposed to check the anodes. I got the whole list. I actually, if you guys have a boat or a motor you're taking care of, get the manual. It'll tell you all sorts of stuff that you did know you had to check, and
Mark,
you probably
you hit
should.
you hit something right there that makes all the sense in the world. If you buy a used boat or a new boat, either one, if it doesn't have a manual with it, it's worth the money just to order one up. That way you have all the stuff and tells you everything to do right then and when to do it.
Yep. Um,
So,
I actually bought the shop manual, the repair manual. It wasn't cheap, but if I ever have to work on that sucker, that'll definitely come in handy for sure.
well, you're planning on keeping this boat a long time.
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of it. That's why I take such good care of it. Everybody says that I'm too busy wiping it with a diaper to fish in it, but that ain't the truth. But I do
Mark,
keep it look good. That just makes people think that I'm a better fisherman because they see fish pictures, but it never looks like I take my boat in the water. So that's the plan.
one of the things that people don't understand is when you spend the kind of money that a new boat costs, you better take care of it because you want it to at least last you get it paid off.
Well, I mean, even with fishing gear, I mean,
Well,
a,
yeah,
a reel
three hundred
costs you
dollars
at the
for a reel.
cheapest, what, $100 at the cheapest for a
That's
good
the
one?
cheapest thing you can buy for anything worth a damn.
Take care of the stuff, maintain it, it'll last you a heck of a long time. I
I,
mean, that's how come I've got every Abu Garcia reel that I've ever bought. I got a couple reels that fell apart on me. I'm not going to mention any names. I got some new ones in from Whisker Seekers, Lyle, and I'm going to tell you, I think if you got one in your hands, you'd probably like it because it resembles a Pro Rocket an awful lot,
really.
an awful lot. But I'm working on a review for that, so sit tight, folks. You'll see that coming up. I was out here um, filming some B-roll last weekend, so I got that stuff in the works. I got a bunch of irons in the fire, so hopefully I can follow through with that. But I was telling you that I had some issues with DaVinci Resolve and stuff like that, so we're just trying to work that out. See, even Chrissy Brown agrees with me, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
So
Again, we'll make
maintenance
sure.
is another thing. The reason why I brought up that film and that B-roll last weekend, I went out to the marina that sponsors me, right, Port Barrington Marina, because I figured B-roll of a product review on the river would look nice, and it was, and the stuff I got turned out pretty nice. But somebody had broken down on the river and kind of the dad jumped out of the boat. It's kind of shallow there, and like 3.5 feet of really cold water. Walked the boat over. Turns out he spun the hub on his prop. So he didn't launch there. He launched at another marina. So I offered to give him a ride instead of them waiting for instead of waiting for an Uber, which he was real grateful. And if he'd have had that extra prop in his boat, he'd have been fine.
There you go.
So not only maintaining your equipment, it's having the stuff to be able to maintain it, and also to have the stuff in case of an emergency to minimize your downtime. So 100%. There's Ernie Brown. What's going on, bud?
Glad to see Ernie in here tonight.
One of the things I like to do to all my rod and reel sets or combos, at the end of the season when I'm not going to use them, is I release the tension off of them. I never keep them in a rod under tension. It's good on the drag washers. Turn that drag washer all the way back. If you got bails, leave them bails open. Even cut off the line and really back up. That would even be better, and back the drag off, and you'll have a real right as day come springtime. If you're not going to rebuild it, if you're going to rebuild it, leave the drag uncompressed over the winter, and you should be good to go. So that's definitely one of the things I could do. And you know what else I do, Lyle?
I don't know.
Put dryer sheets in all the compartments of my boat.
That's a good idea. They grab moisture, right?
They quote unquote, mice won't go in there if you got dryer sheets in there.
Really?
That's what I've been told. We've been doing it ever since we've had pontoon boats back since the early 90s, and we've never had a problem with mice, whether there was boats were kept indoors or outdoors. But you got to use a whole bunch of those dryer sheets, and it smells pretty good come spring, to be honest with you.
Not a bad idea. Wonder if that'd work on cats. My neighbor's cats get in my boat. Nothing pisses me off more.
I know.
You do know.
You should park your boat in, what is it, Springfield, Ohio? Is that where?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I want to videotape it, though.
Chrissy says the scent is supposed to deter bugs, mice, and rats.
Well, mice and rats and squirrels is usually what ends up tearing up the wiring in anything that they get in. So yeah, that I know mothballs is, they claim, does the same thing, and anything that I ever put mothballs in, I never had no trouble with rodents or anything. But damn, they stink. They don't
we used to use mothballs too at the little cottage my parents had, and I swear to God, them mice just pushed them mothballs right out of their way, moved them out where they wanted to go.
Oh wow.
What's the options of painting your trail other than leaving your boat in the water?
Brian, there is several videos about taking your boat off of the trailer for reasons like that on YouTube. Just look it up. And some of them are very simple and some of them are a little bit more extravagant. But just pick you out the one you think will work best for you. If
Brian's talking about doing it to the boat that he has, it's not that large of a boat, if I'm not mistaken. It shouldn't be too bad. A lot of it's just styrofoam blocks or making wood blocks up, jack it up, put it on there, roll it forward, and so on. It's kind of like a shuffle until you get it off of there. Once you get it off the trailer, then you just make sure it's stable and you do what you got to do.
Dave says when you find teeth marks from the mice and the mothball, it makes you question things. I believe that'd be a fact. Well, looky here. PD Fishing has joined us.
What's up, PD? How you doing, bud?
Good to see you in here, my friend.
I'm at a loss for words after reading that. I don't know what to say to that.
It's good to see him back in, though, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Chrissy says, stop buying the mothballs at the Dollar Tree.
Well, that might have something to do with it. Oh, man. But, there's a lot of things that you can do on your, I'll tell you, one of the biggest maintenance things to a boat, if you don't have a place to keep it inside, get a cover for it. The things that it'll protect is unbelievable.
You know what's even better than that? If it's available to you, pay to have it shrink wrapped.
Yeah, probably so.
They charge you by the foot. I don't exactly know how much, but I know a lot of guys that swear by it. They keep their boats out in the snow and the ice and the rain all winter long, and they never have a problem. So
looky there. Fields to Water has joined us.
They must got the Wi-Fi working at the retirement home.
Oh. Welcome, Chad.
If he was here for the beginning of the show, he would know what that's all about.
Yeah, he probably would.
What's going on, Chadwick?
But that then get your boat and all that stuff, and then you got everything else to work on. And a lot of people from now on, more and more people will stop fishing as the weather gets colder. Some people will go south; they don't worry about it. But from now on out, is a great time to maintain your reels and clean up your rods and put a coat of wax on them. If you put a coat of wax on them in the wintertime, it'll last most of the way through the summer. And bugs from traveling down the road that whack them if they stand up, and shad scales and stuff come off so much easier if you just put a coat of wax on.
You know
And
what I've used in the past, Lyle?
what's that?
Like the spray detailer for cars, the real like watery type wax sprayed on a microfiber cloth. Well, first I'd wash all the scales, all the shad scales and bluegill scales and guts off of my catfish rods to begin with like vinegar and water. That works really well. Get it nice and clean first. And then I would just spray down a microfiber cloth with some of that spray detailer like you'd use for a car, which is pretty much a super watered down version of car wax. But you know, your rod and reel isn't going to be sitting out in the rain day after day after day. So that quick
Right.
wax usually does the trick.
I use Dawn dishwashing soap, diluted down a little bit, and a not stiff nylon brush gets most of the scales and the dirt and stuff off of them. I do have the advantage over some people if it's packed on or too thick on the grips, no matter what material they're made of. Other than if it's cord, I just pull the cord off, put new on. If it's cork or EVA foam or Hapalon, I just put it up on there and take the sandpaper and put another smooth finish over top of it, and that gets rid of all of them. But you can buy some stuff to coat that cork with that helps preserve it really well, and
Yeah, I think
I highly recommend
it's
doing
called
it. It's like $6-8 a little bottle or a
it's
tub
called
of it.
cork preserver, actually,
Yep,
I believe, if
it's
I'm
cork
quoting it.
preserver. That's exactly right, and I've been using it for years. But um, I use rain dance and turtle wax on my rods just because I want them to shine when I send them out. So when
Mhm.
they leave, most always they gotta, unless something comes up for some reason, don't have time to do it or whatever. But most of the time they get a coat of wax on them before they leave, and after that, then it's up to the guy that gets them. But like I say, that will do wonderful things for you as far as keeping them clean and making them clean and re-cleaning them up the next time. If you just put a coat on once a year, it'd make all the difference in the world. You do it twice a year, that'd be better. But who's got the time or who remembers to do it that much? But I highly recommend doing that. And about any brand of wax is good stuff. But I don't think they really make any junk anymore, do they?
No, not really. I mean, wax is wax.
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot of these polymers are pretty good stuff. They make that, I guess, ceramic, but I wouldn't use that stuff on a
Well, that's
fish.
too high for.
Yeah, and like if you're using a carnauba, that's a pain in the butt to get off. I wouldn't use
Yeah,
that.
I wouldn't use that either.
I would use just like a silicone based wax or something
That's
like that.
right.
Now, let me ask you
Yeah.
this: do you ever use rod socks?
Yes, we do have some rod socks.
I like those too. And my only problem is, all right, in the winter, I hang my gear up on the ceiling in the garage. Well, we got a lot of spiders in my garage. So come spring, I'm having to take all the spider webs off of them. So I'm trying to think how I can at least cover the reels up because it's kind of a pain in the butt to get them out of the
You
reels.
don't have reel covers?
I don't have reel covers. I got so many different reels. I'd have to have Chad Fields money in order to
I
have covers for all
I
of them.
understand, but well, Dave uh, Ashby had a deal. Oh, I don't know. It's 15, 20 years ago. He had just started his business of selling tackle and stuff, and he had a bargain one time for like $2 or $2.50. I forgot what brand name they say. It's an off brand, real covers, the neoprene ones with Velcro on them. And I bought a ton of them things because they were so cheap. And I got them in the small, medium, and large size, so they'd fit the small reels, they'd fit the 6500s, they'd fit the 7000s. I had a bunch of all sizes. Um, well, I think they're selling them for $15 a pop now, but when Dave had them, I don't remember what brand it is. some brand X thing, but it doesn't matter. They're keeping your reels clean, you know, and we've got a lot of those.
What I've seen a lot of people do is they use can koozies for like bait casters. Cut a hole down the middle of them and slide them right over. I'm sure I got a bunch from laying around here in the garage somewhere. I used to pick them up everywhere I went. I thought about shrink wrapping, like for moving and stuff or for shipping.
Yeah.
For some reason, my wife bought a roll that's like 4 inches wide for some project she was doing. So it's a roll that's only like this wide, but it's like this big around. It's a big roll. What's that?
A can koozie.
Oh, can koozie. There you go. I thought about using that stuff to just wrap around the reels for the winter and see how that works. Not like mummify them, just cover them with one wrap around each so it stays on there and see what it does.
I'll tell you what, you could always put some of that shipping tape on them.
You'll never get it off.
Them spiders, you can catch all them spiders that way. I got one of those.
This is Catfish and Crappie Shipping Central back when I was selling all them hats.
I got you. You did sell a lot of hats.
I did sell a lot of hats.
A lot of hats. Yes,
I went through 15 rolls of tape.
Hey, I buy by the 4-roll pack.
The 6, I buy by the 6-pack. But anyways, so those are some of the things that now other things I've been doing. Like I got these from Freddie. Actually, I got a few of these from Freddie. These are planer board clips.
Yes.
Well, I'm getting in the habit of putting them on my flathead rods because I've been using a lot of J hooks. So I'm in the process of doing that as well. On the hook keeper, so I can leave the I can just hook it into the planer and leave the bait clicker going so they could run with the bait without the river current pulling the bait or pulling the reel. You know what I mean? Pulling the spool empty. It just works a lot better to do that. So I've been doing stuff like that as well. I've been making steel leaders and not steel leaders, but steel, well, I guess they would be leaders. I've been putting leaders on my, what do they call it? On my spooks for dragging baits. Just on the back. I started doing that in the last week, just because it's a lot easier to do that, but only on spooks that I know have wire run all the way through them. Ask me how I know to make sure of that.
I didn't know any of them did that.
Yeah, they should. The ones I do now do.
A lot of them do not. I know they do not because I've taken some of them apart.
David
there's
says,
a reason
all
for
of
that.
my rods and reels in a climate-controlled garage. Now the dust is a different story. And you were showing off them spiders too. Our spider webs are horrible here.
Oh my God, we got cobwebs all over the place. It's fall here though. Who is changing them?
Changing what?
But yeah, they I don't know.
Is Josh messing around with you again?
Something.
Another concern I have, Lyle, is you ever hear of 13 stripe, or is that what they're called? 13 stripe squirrels?
13 striped squirrels.
13 line squirrels, that's what they're called. They're like groundhogs, maybe an inch bigger. Are they ground squirrels an inch bigger? They got 13 stripes down their back. We got like a whole family of them here on my property all of a sudden. That's why them dogs are going crazy. They can't catch them. I wish I still had my dachshund. That dachshund used to keep them things at bay. But I'm worried about them getting into my garage and rifling through all my stuff in there, especially in the boat. So I think we're going to have to go over to Farm and Fleet and pick up a trap for those suckers.
I'll tell you how to get rid of them. I have had lots of experience with squirrels in my pecan tree.
That I know.
That's how you get rid of them. And you know what? You can catch them in a live trap and repurpose them out to the local conservation area.
Mm-hmm.
People love to see it released out there.
I was thinking jig material.
I have plenty.
What's up, Missy Kennedy? How you doing, dear? Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm trying to think what else I need to do that I haven't done yet, besides put everything up. And plastics usually need attention. If you take them out of the bag and put them in a plastic container, they'll go bad over the winter. They'll just melt. At least the older stuff would.
Right.
Bugman's here too, and I saw LG Bass a little while ago too.
Good deal. Brian B says my rods are in a safe. I forgot the password to get them out. That's why he's not fishing.
You know what? If tomorrow on the bait shop, they should challenge Brian to see if he can still tie a fishing knot.
Oh, that's a great idea. I don't know if Chad's still listening or not, but you know.
Only reason why I brought that up is because I had actually YouTube a video. I forgot to tie one today. I was getting set up. Hey, those fluorocarbon to braid knots, the leader knots, they kind of get me. So
yep.
I don't tie them too often.
I understand. I don't tie them together very much. Well, I don't use fluorocarbon. I use braid and mono, and that pretty much covers everything for me.
All right, Brian, let's see you tie an Albright knot. Right now, we'll send you
a review. Oh man,
they're all having spider talk in chat.
I don't care much for spiders. So I might take a shotgun after one if I had to, if he's very big.
They don't bother me too much. We have the brown recluses here. I've seen one black widow since we've moved in. Other than that, I don't see too much of them. But the brown recluses are here quite a bit. They're everywhere.
I don't like any of them. I don't like them garden spiders that's out in the trees and stuff. The big green ones, make them big old, real pretty webs. It makes some of the prettiest webs ever, but man, they're just nasty. Nasty.
I just knock them all down anyways. I guess I should take some time to appreciate them. Just was out on a porch having to do the same thing, but that's the other thing. I'm trying to think what else I do have to do for maintenance, drop of oil here and there. I go through my tackle a lot, quite a bit, because I'm the kind of fisherman that when you're out and I'm too busy fishing to put stuff back where it frickin' belongs, for sure.
I'll tell you something that you should do. If you take your keep any amount of stuff in your tackle box at all, and it sets out any amount of time at all, everything in the world that gets shipped has these silica packs in it. I keep a bunch of them in my drawer. It just takes a second to open up your tackle box or your tackle bag, anything that's in like a plastic box, like these, I don't know, 100 or so of them I've got here. If you're putting any kind of tackle in there, let's open them up, stick a couple of them in there, help keep everything from rusting. This one I'm not using, but not yet anyhow. But if it's going to be out in the elements, that will save your hooks from rusting.
Yeah, if you open a box at night and leave it open for too long, it gets all damped up.
That's right.
But before I started buying tackle boxes with the anti-rust insides, and it'll still rust if you let them get too wet or you don't dry them out. But
yep.
I've lost a lot of tackle that way for sure.
You can take them to. I keep a lot of tackle boxes in the back of my truck, and sometimes they get wet. I've got a cover over it, but still, sometimes they get wet, whether you go through the car wash or whether you're leave it open because you got a bait tank in the back of it and it's hooked up to power so you keep the bait alive. There's a lot of reasons why they get wet, but those do help. And another thing you can do is just pull them tackle boxes out, open them up, let them sit out in the sun. And when you think you've got all the moisture out of it, then go ahead and take them out and take a paper towel and go through everything. because if not, it'll show you didn't get it all out, and so the hook and stuff will rust on them. Ask me how I know.
I think we can figure that out, but
another thing, Mark, is a lot of people change their fishing line a lot if they're running monofilament. If you're running braid, it's a great time to strip one reel off and run it on backwards, because the last half of that line is brand new, and it saves you a lot of money doing that. And then the used part's down way down to where it'll never see sunlight probably, or rarely anyhow, and it's still probably good, but it just turns it around. You got brand new line out for the next year or so, however often long you do it. And if you're running mono and you don't want to change it, at least run off 15, 20 yards of it and clip it off, because that's been used and reused and stretched so many times it needs to be gone. But most people, I think, will change mono every year, I believe.
I do it on a, I guess I probably should, but what I do is I buy a reel one size bigger than I probably should, so I can put extra mono on there, and I just keep cutting off the ends that need to be cut off. Once I get to the point of where I'm casting more line than I got on that spool, that's when I'll respool them for the most part. Other than that, pretty good. Absolutely, right. David. We'll keep your wife in our prayers. David says, prayers for my wife, Naomi. The lump in her breast is getting bigger. They're getting concerned.
Prayers coming up, buddy. Yeah, we don't want any of that stuff going on.
Brian B says, I'm making a few tackle boxes to leave on the boat. That way I'm safe.
From what?
From ever using them.
Oh.
I think that's what he meant.
Maybe he's keeping them safe from Chad bothering them. You never know.
That'll never happen.
Probably not. I don't know. Chad probably go out and fish with Brian. He'd have to take his boat. I don't think he uses his anymore. Oh, man.
Brian, I really thought that's what you meant, but you're poking fun at yourself. That's another thing. Not only maintaining stuff, I've been making a couple new tackle boxes to not keep in the boat, or tackle trays.
Right.
Just so I have them available to keep in a truck if I'm out and about. And I doubled up on my bait getting supplies. And it wasn't cheap. I think I went to Farmer Fleet, all said and done, set myself up. I think I spent like $60 on everything. And that's just for some Aberdeen hooks and weights, a couple of Panther Martins, a couple of things like that. It added up pretty quick. So
I have to tell you, Mark, I went shopping without you last night. I've been watching a lot of videos here lately. These guys.
What'd you buy me?
Nothing.
Oh, well, then
Panfish, what do they call it? Trout magnets, like trout magnets, except a box of it that's made for panfish. I've been watching a lot of videos, and these guys are using these things, and they seem to be having a lot of luck. I don't know if they're any good or not, but it intrigued me enough to order a box of them. I think it was $15, $18 on Amazon. So I have some of that coming. But I make a jig almost like that. So I want to compare it to the plastic to see how
your grandson was in here was it last week or the week before last, and he was talking about using beetle spins without the blades on them. And the first thing that came to mind were trout magnets, because that's pretty much exactly what they are. So you might as well take that box and order you a second one and give it to your grandson.
I probably should do that. Yeah. Yeah.
You're welcome for spending your money. Let's get the credit card out after the show. You can order me a box too.
Okay.
Calvin Lassiter, how you doing, bud?
Welcome, buddy. He says they work great.
They do.
I know the guys that have have been making videos about them, even as much as a year and maybe a half ago. I haven't seen anyone say anything bad about them yet. So, like I say, it intrigued me enough. I do make a hand tied that looks just a whole lot like them out of craft foam. Um, but I want to see. I want to see how they work compared to each other, and uh, you really can't make them as cheap as you can buy those if they work as good.
You know,
I have good luck with the ones I tie.
you can always make hybrids and get the really small trout magnets and then tie around them, make flies that way. I've seen a lot of guys do that in the past and they've been pretty successful with catching fish. So
Right. Yeah.
got all sorts of projects for you to for you to do this
All
winter.
right. We'll do that. And I've been getting a lot of messages from people, Mark, about why we don't do the Saturday night jig tying anymore. And I keep telling everybody we'll try to get together with a bunch of guys and do that again.
If I can remember how, I need to get a bunch of walleye flies tied for the winter. I got the supplies I need for that.
Yeah.
Dice bucktail. We talked about that a number of times. Never got around to trying that. It's like not enough time in the day to get everything done.
That's exactly right. I do have another thing to talk about. It goes back to the boat part of things. Our buddy Josh, Weekend Angler, has a new video out testing yet another new battery. Very well done. Josh has tested 3 or 4 of these batteries out.
How many batteries does he have? Oh, wait a minute. He's got a whole marina full. I forgot.
Well, he's got 40 boats, so I mean, you got to have a battery, at least one for each one. But he tests these in a way that's as close to real life as anybody I've seen do, and it's very well done. So you need to go check that out. Just go with the Weekend Angler, and it'll be his latest video, and it's really good. If I had the link to it, I'd post it up, but I don't have it right now. Maybe if Josh is in here, maybe he'll put it in there. But Dave says Gregory likes panfish magnets and trout magnets, whatever it's called, but he always goes back to Gulp. I know that you like Gulp. I have used the Gulp, and I even give it the benefit of the doubt after you give me some, and I bought more, and I catch fish on it, but not like you do for whatever reason. Maybe it's the area I'm in. I don't know. I'm anxious to try it on the lakes when they get up in the rocks, and there should be there right now.
With those Berkley Gulps, the 1-inch minnows, some days it's just throw it under a bobber and they'll annihilate it. Other days you got to twitch it or move it slowly or do a couple of things. You just got to figure out, what the order of, I call it my order of operation, what I like to try. If they're not hitting it while it's sitting right in front of their face, then you got to start moving it. If moving it is enough, then you start moving, pausing, and so on, stuff like that. But you can usually get them to bite on that. I don't know if it's that juice that they're soaking in or if it's just the silhouette's the perfect size. I don't know.
I made myself a note for something I wanted to talk to you about after the show.
Okay.
To see if you've done it or not. I keep forgetting to do it. So, but I hear nothing but good things about the panfish and trout magnets. I don't know if there's any difference between the trout magnet and the panfish.
I think it's size for the most part.
What?
I think it's just size because they got crappie magnets, trout magnets, and panfish magnets. I think they got like different size for each species.
Well, I ordered the panfish stuff because that's what I fish for mostly. And hey, there's Dog and I Outdoors. Welcome, Curtis.
Hi, Curtis.
Good to see you in here.
To be honest with you, I think what makes those crappie and trout magnets work so good are those darter head jig heads that are on there.
That could be.
I think that because they kind of stick out a little farther past the 90 degree, so it balances them out perfect. They sit straight.
Do you have a mold like that?
They make molds like that.
Do you need one? Let's get you ordered up.
No, I don't know. You buying, I'm flying, buddy. I'll give you my shipping address. I think you gotta go to like a Fat Boys Fishing or something like that, where they make the custom molds, which cost
Oh,
you
really?
money. Yeah, that'll cost you quite a bit of money over there. So.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yes, you are. We'll talk you into it.
No. Calvin says they're the same size.
Oh, okay. All I've ever had were the trout magnets. So,
did you catch bluegill or crappie
I
on
got trout on them.
Okay. What'd you do with them?
I smoked them and made them into dip. They were delicious.
Really?
That's the only way. I don't mind trout. Okay. Now, I know I always say trout, that's cat food, right? For the most part, it is. That's just my palate or whatever. But if I can get it fresh off the smoker, still hot, right? Or once I get that meat off the bone and put it in like a cream cheese type dip, which is delicious, that's good too. Those two ways, I don't mind the trout. So, and the only trout I ever catch are stockers around here. So I get them 2, 3 days, 4 days out of the year at the most. So,
yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do, and we're kind of getting off track. We always do. I had a friend of mine, Terry, lived back home, and his wife Rosemary. Terry would catch common carp and get the meat off of them, and his wife would can them and then make salmon patties out of them. And it's better than any salmon patty you ever had. I'm telling you, they were delicious.
My grandma used to make those for my grandfather all the time when he'd bring carp home. That's why he fished for carp. So they ate a lot of it. I wouldn't touch this stuff. I'd just go fish.
It's really good. I like carp fried if you put enough salt on it. That I salt everything for. I don't even taste it. There ain't no sense tasting it because it ain't never got enough salt on it for me. So I just go ahead and salt it and then taste. Everything's better with salt. It's kind of like
my
bacon.
dad does the same thing.
As David say, when you order the Panfish magnet kit, the hooks are a little bit long with the narrower gap than the hooks that come with the track. Well, I probably got a jig or two that I can exchange it for.
Thanks for the info, Calvin. Appreciate it, bud.
Coming up with that, we're into the time now. It's time to get the molds out, Mark, and start making jig heads and sinkers and whatever it is that you need to do. I actually have, I have to clean off my little table that I do that on, but I have the molds all laid out. I'm getting ready to do some of that, but hopefully I'll get to go fishing in the morning. Depends on if I get any sleep. If I don't get no more sleep tonight I did last night, I'll be sleeping in the morning.
Yeah, I guess on my list of molds that I want some walleye jig molds, like in a 1/2 inch or a 1/2 ounce, I'm sorry, and below. 1/2 ounce is like the biggest ones I use. The ones with longer shank and wider gap hooks. And I want to start getting a couple of coin sinker molds because those are the ones I use for the most part.
I like them. I don't have any. I might have 1 or 2 coin sinker molds. I've got so many I can't remember. I'll have to look and see. But I want to get a couple more jig head molds. So I got buckets and buckets of lead. I might as well utilize it.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way making jigs.
Yeah, a pound of lead is a lot at a 16.
I do have a 16 and a 20 ounce bank sinker mold. It'll go through that pretty quick.
I figured out I have enough lead in the garage to make like 270 some thousand 16th ounce jig heads.
I would take more lead if I could get it. I mean, it's a lot of this stuff I got for free, and now you got to pay for it because nobody gives it away anymore, which is a crying shame. But that's just the economy we live in, I guess. But thanks, Joe. But it is what it is. It's still cheaper than buying it. When I don't know what's a 2 ounce sinker cost, Mark.
I have no idea. All I know is like some of these jig heads these days, you'll get 5 in a pack for $5. So
That's
that's
a
a
buck
buck.
a head. Yeah,
That's
that's
a buck
crazy.
ahead. That's crazy.
It is. You can buy hooks too cheap, and some of the hooks don't fit the molds like they should. And you can, if you're steady handed, you can take a die grinder and fix it. If you're not steady handed, take it to somebody that is. Don't don't screw with them because you'll mess things up. Uh, but I have enlarged them to where the different hook fit in the mold better. Uh, Not that I'm all that steady handed, but I've ported and polished enough heads I can get away with it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to having some time. It's nice to go out in the garage in the winter. I got that propane heater out there. I take the dogs out there with me. It's nice to get out of the house when you're cooped up in here all the time in the winter. So I
Yep.
do look forward to that. I got a fly vise that I need to set up out there, so I'll be able to do that. I'm in a process of reorganizing a lot in the garage too. I have a like a shelf in the front of the garage. It's like 3 feet wide, I think 3 feet, 3 feet wide, 3 feet off the it's hanging 3 feet off the roof, and it's just on the one side. I want to extend it all the way to the other side of the garage. That's on my to-do list, and get a bunch of bins and put a bunch of stuff up. So I got a heck of a lot more area to work over there next to my boat. Right now it's a little cramped, but I'm not complaining. A lot of people don't have places to work. So
Yeah, that's exactly right. 205 Wild Action, welcome. You are a little bit late, but it's okay. We don't care. We're glad to have you anyhow.
Lyle, you mentioned you're going fishing tomorrow, right?
Gonna try to if I get up in time, if I get enough sleep tonight. Um, I still got to go out and do a little something to my daughter's car here in a little bit, and try to get that going so she can make it to work tomorrow. And I didn't get no sleep last night, so if I can get some sleep tonight, uh, time to
Time to
slaughter
slaughter the
perch.
perch he's talking about. I like that.
Yeah, I'd like to get into some of them perch. There's some around in different areas. I think Table Rock Lake. I think James told me Table Rock Lake has some, but I rarely go down there. It's so full of touristy people, and I'm not interested in interacting with those guys. So
I might
yeah,
even drive my boat to on the south side, maybe go fishing off in Calumet City over there, chasing some perch this year. If I can get away, maybe I'll do that. I just hate having to drag my boat through that neighborhood down there. So
I understand. Have a good night, Dave. Thanks for joining in, buddy. I um I really want to try some of them perch. People talk about how good tasting they are. I want to see for myself.
they're good. It's a bland, flaky white meat. I don't know how else to say it. So a lot of that, like perch, walleye, crappie, to me, they're blank canvases for whatever you put on them. Whether it's the breading or the seasoning you put on there when you're blackening them, or even the tartar sauce. So
Creole, you are late, but here. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
we waited for you, Creel. We're going to end the show now that you finally got here. Mm.
But yeah, I think getting your molds out, getting them all cleaned up, oil the hinges on them. It's something that everybody should do. In fact, I recommend keeping a can of some kind of penetrating oil, WD-40 or something similar to that, and squirt the hinges before you ever start each time that you go to use your molds. I think that's a very
Yep.
good idea. Nobody ever told me that, but man, it's so much easier to open and shut them things. And of course, some of mine are old enough now; they kind of open and shut on their own. But
You
you
ever
know,
hear of a spray called Ballistol?
no,
It's a gun lubricant. It's from Germany. It smells like licorice, but I think it's got a little paraffin wax in there, which makes it stick and last a lot
yep.
longer. Maybe I'll try some of that. I usually, after I sharpen my knives, I'll clean it with that Ballistol, and it keeps them in nice shape. So
Kevin says they are the best tasting fish on the planet. Leave the skin on.
I've eaten this with the skin on and the fins. The fins are pretty good too. The tail, at least, I should say. The fins are a little pokey on the top, like a walleye. So
Cool. Danny Stone says, I have been here the whole time, but I was hooked up to 6 electrodes, shocking the hillbilly hell out.
What are you in? What is Parker over there hanging out with you, or what, Danny?
I'm not sure what that's all about.
That's good stuff, Mark. He's talking about the ballast. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I've not ever heard of it. So I have this, which I like really well, the Lucas Real Oil. I like that really well. And then I have this, which I like real well. It's rim oil for cleaning guns and stuff. I like both of those. They serve me well, and I haven't never put the real oil on guns, but I have put the gun oil on reels before. That makes sense.
Yep.
Jamie says winter is coming, so it's about time to season your cast iron as well. Got to maintain the cooking equipment. That is very true. I'm getting ready to go out, and of course, my smoker will be used more in the winter than it is in the summer. But my griddle needs to be cleaned and reseasoned, so that's something I'll probably be doing really soon. Got the shock therapy machine from the VA hospital. I have. Is it the TENS machine? Is that what you're talking about?
Danny, there's got to be video. You got to make a video of you getting shocked with that thing, buddy.
If it's a 10 machines, I've got one.
All right. I'm going to make it. Can I make a confession here, Lyle?
Yes.
There's two kind of viral videos that make me happy online. One of them is a monkey smoking. For some reason, I think that's funnier than heck. And the other one is when people get tased. I don't know what it is about that, but it makes me laugh like a son of a gun.
I'll tell you one that I like is the guys that set up, you know what a trap thrower is? Throw some clay pigeons out for people to shoot. And the guys that launch them squirrels out of them. That is the most funny thing I ever seen in my life.
The squirrel catapults?
Oh, I love them, man. Just hilarious. Anything to get rid of them. Them things are so damn destructive. And, of course, you know how many I got a couple years ago. And to be quite honest, my pecan tree is just about right. And I'm afraid season's going to have to be open on them things because they are all over my backyard.
Kevin Kaplan says, I scale all my panfish, crappie, gills, perch, all taste way better with the skin on. Worth the effort to scale them, in my opinion.
That makes sense to me.
I like them when they're scaled, gutted whole, and take the head off and fry them whole. Put a couple X's in them to get some seasoning down.
That's what I'm going to ask you if you cut the sides of them to get some seasoning down inside there. I seen what's his name? We had him on here, Chris, here a while back. Is he puts hot sauce in his seasoning? He's been doing some catch and cooks, and he's got some kind of Kentucky-based company that he's buying fish seasoning from, and I'm not sure he's not getting it from the dollar store, or the Dollar Tree, or the dollar something or other. And I was told the other day, I don't know if it's true or not, that Walmart bought out Dollar General.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know if that's true or not, but anyhow, wherever he's getting this stuff, he's putting Franks and all in it. But he likes his fish a little warmer than a lot of people probably would, but it sounds pretty good to me. I'm going to have to be trying some of that. And I'm going to thaw out some and smoke some. I've got some catfish fillets from last year. I'm going to smoke some of them, maybe some crappie to go with them to see how I like to smoke fish. I've not ever smoked any, so I'm anxious to do that.
Low and slow, Lyle.
That's
real cold.
Well, you got to do it. Creole says Dad used to bake crappie whole in the oven, seasoned and breaded on the outside and stuffed with onions and bell peppers. That does sound good. Sounds really good.
I'd eat that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
I'll go fishing tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be able to get some more fillets for the winter. I'm hoping to stock up some. So we're going to check my crappie spots, a couple of them real quick. If that fails, I'm going to If they're not in, I should say, I'm going to go get some walleye. I know the walleye are in right now. So I'm just going up to the chain. I'm going to go fish the lake. I don't think I'm going to go live. I just kind of want to get up there and get it done and maybe listen to a couple of podcasts or a book on tape, or an audio book, I should say, book on tape. How am I dating? I'm dating myself there. An audio book while we're out there. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. Drink a whole bunch of coffee. So wish me luck, everybody. I'll post pictures.
Danny Stone says mix brown mustard and hot sauce to dredge your fish in, then cornmeal. Good stuff. Sounds good. Sounds good. Any certain kind of hot sauce? I got lots of Frank's, so I kind of like
Valentina hot sauce is like my favorite. Valentina Black is my favorite day-to-day hot sauce. A lot of people like that Cholula stuff. I think it's just okay. If I want to go like really hot, I got some other sauces in the fridge. So
yeah, I don't want to go too hot anymore. My stomach won't take it these days, but I do like. And if it's too hot, it's too hot. I want it to be warm and spicy, but still be tasty. Some of it gets so hot it loses its taste. Now, Josh, the hotter it is, the better he likes. I'm not sure you can get it too hot for him.
Yeah, I like hot stuff, but I gotta like Aaron from Catfish Regulators sent me some Dave's Insanity, which is pretty hot stuff.
Probably so. Yeah, they got a lot of hot stuff out there where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
But each to his own. Some people like it hot, some people don't. I used to like it really, really hot, but my stomach just won't put up with it anymore. So I backed off from a lot of that. But I still like me some hot wings.
I thought we were going to make it through a show without talking about food, Lyle. I'm trying to lose a few pounds, right?
Yeah, me too. I'm on a seafood diet.
You got anything else for us tonight, Lyle?
I do not. How about you?
Nope. I got nothing. I think I ran out of nothing about 5 minutes ago, bud. I ain't gonna lie.
I want to thank everybody for watching the show tonight. Be sure to tune in next Wednesday night, and don't forget to drop in and check us out on Catfish Weekly on Monday night. Other than that, if you're not going live, Mark, I think we're done.
You never know. I don't think so. I'm not planning on it, but it could happen. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure I will. Most of the places I fish can't go live. There's no phone signal, so that pretty much takes care of that. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next week.
Good night, everybody.